good morning, pleasant good morning, one and all. Welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome, one and all. Today, Wednesday, the 22nd day of May, 2024. Here we are once again for another interesting, informative episode. So, yeah. You know the thing. Share the life. I see many students already in the schoolyard. That's a little technical. We had some technical difficulties again this morning. You know, whatever the difficulties are, we are committed to overcoming them and to bring you the credible, the valid information. I see many students. You're in your hundreds at this stage. We haven't got up to thousands yet, hundreds, but people are joining all the time. And you know, when we scheduled the program this morning, a little late again, because of some issues, close to 9 o'clock. Well, we say a little late because that is in comparison to the previous time that we scheduled. Because remember, the program starts at 11, and we would normally schedule 6 o'clock in the morning, and people are there in the schoolyard. This morning we scheduled almost close to 9. What time? 8:54. We scheduled it this morning, and the students were there. But I had cars to come out the site and then to get back in. And when I got back in, only to discover a while ago that the first 41 students in class were removed from the comment list. If you look at the comment list there now, you will see the first person there is at 9:14, but that is not accurate. The first person came on at 8:54 this morning. But I have a record of those persons, and I'll let you know. So share the live and let people know that we're on. Share the live. Let me see. Give us a thumbs up. One of the students actually rebuking his fellow student that as soon as you come on, you should give the thumbs up, and let's see that you appreciate the effort. Yeah, so we are here once again. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio, ready and raring to go. And as we normally say, we have to give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. Many persons are not that fortunate. We have to give praise and thanks. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it and give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. Let's give praise and thanks always, because without the mercies of the good Lord, without the mercies, we would not be here to participate in this program or anything else for that matter. So share the live. Let them know. Again, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Then you hit the notification button. You will get a notification when the program is scheduled. And then if you go on Facebook and you like the page on Facebook, you will get a similar notification. So you won't miss out on anything. I am fully aware too that because of work schedule and the like, some people are not able to watch it live, but immediately they go on YouTube when they get the opportunity and watch to see what is going on, including some members of the force who are fearful, who have been warned not to be watching Slow and Conway. Yeah, they warn them, they threaten them. If you catch you watching Slow and Conway, you're going to get transferred and all manner of things. But we are here to bring credible information. We are here to teach. And this very policemen and others who they are telling not to watch a program, they would reach out and inform us how educational this program has been. And we want to promise you that it will continue to be educational, because as I have said before, we have a wealth of knowledge and we feel obligated, we feel compelled to share the knowledge with you, the students, even though, as we say, the method that we are using to do so might not be the traditional one, but there are reasons for that. There are valid reasons why we are doing it this way. So for those who are offended by the manner in which the message is shared, the teaching is done, I say to you, forget about the messengers, just listen to the message. Forget about the messengers, listen to the message. Once again, we have so much to tell you today, so much to tell you today. And again, I say today is Wednesday, 22nd of May, 2024. So, well, let me start off by doing the roll call. And once I do the roll call, then we'll go to the program. As I indicated earlier, the first 41 students were removed from the comments. I suspect it's because they had to come out of the site and then go back in. I had some technical issues, so I came out and I went back in, and I only just discovered that the Force 41. So let me go run this quickly. The first person in this morning was Ivan. He came in at 8:54. Ivan Daniels, followed by Kenneth, followed by Raul. Then we had Grace, Clifton from Paris, John, and that's John Cummins, Mary Smith from Brooklyn, Carlton Lewis, my squad mate, he was in at 8:58. Then we had Fergus Cumberbatch, followed by Carlisle Jacobs, Wayne Liddell from the UK. He came in at 8:59. Barbara came in at 9. Winston, he's from the UK too. He came in at 9:01. Then we had Ulrich from Crane in at 9:01. Tessa from Florida came in next. Vibert from the US, from New York came in at 9:01. That's Vibert Lawson, because we have other Viberts as well. Lynette from the UK came at 9:02. Andre Saul came in at 9:02, followed by the one and only Barlett from the Hills in Linden. He was here at 9:02 too. Then Joan Robinson, Debbie Collins, Gavin Jacobs, Jakey was here, Winston Kilkenny, followed by Doreen Green, my squad mate from Canada. Isabella is in the house. Sean Robin Janat from New York is here. Vibert from East Bank, Demerara. Then we have Ulrich, my squad mate, 9555 from Barbados. He came in at 9:06. Then we have the UK, and then Evelyn, Anthony Bradshaw from Petersall, Gaston Taylor, my squad mate from 908. And I really want to show the comment. I wanted to show, but he's no longer there with the comment because he made comments on a letter that Mr. Conway wrote, which was published in the Daily today. But we got to deal with that. Then we had Princess from Lamar Springs, Lamar Park. No? Then we had Leon Gibbons, Old Police. Then we had Keith was next. Murray. Clive from the UK was in next. Henrik. Then we had Michael Richardson. And then the 41st person in at 9:12 was Derek Trotty. All those persons that I just called, the comments have been struck off. And then the first one here that appears that you will see is Monica. Monica, and they have Monica is 9:14. And then Everett, the man from Texas. Then Mr. G came in. Then after Mr. G, Keelan, followed by Francis, the man from Melanie Damashana. Then after Francis, we had Patricia G. Then after Patricia, and Patricia is from New Jersey. Colin is here, followed by Lynette, followed by Courtney, and this is Courtney Saul, followed by Brian Saul. I think they are both from New Jersey. Then we had Thomas, then we had Felicia. Then the original black man came in, followed by Carl, my squad mate from Arizona. Akko came in at 9:22. Then we had Jean. Then we had Ezzy. Then Kurt. Cecile came in next, and Cecile came in at 9:24. Allison, Wayne, and this is Wayne Calendar. Then we have Vibert. This is the next Vibert Smith. He said he and his sister are watching. His sister is in Brooklyn. He is in Guyana, and they're watching. Then we have Rhonda, followed, and this is Rhonda Chance, followed by Bonita, followed by Aileen. Aileen, one of the few female cricket umpires we have around. Aileen, I'm sure you're looking forward to the upcoming games. I'm going to talk about that in a short while. Rasta Man is here, and followed by Sharon, followed by Sydney. Then we have Samuel. Then we have Trevor, followed by Tallulah, and Tallulah is normally from Brooklyn, he says. Rohan, the one and only Rohan Jahawar is here. Then I can't recall this student before, Boo Alexander, right? It's a present in class. Sandra is here. Clay, followed by Morton, followed by George. Then Ronald is here. Ether is in the house. Patricia, and this Patricia actually, family music. Duan is in the house. Denise, Earl, followed by George. Orin from the UK. My friend Chicken Man is here from the UK. Don't miss a program. Malcolm is here. Brennan, Claude, Thomas. I Revives. I can't recall seeing I Revives before. Welcome, I Revives. Anne is here. Pamela from West Side, Jacko from Georgia, Maxwell Beaton, 11704. Beaton is in the house. Then we have the one and only Ridley Angel, the Angel. Then we have John, followed by Michael. Michael, I missed you on Monday. I wanted to know if your squad mate banned you from the program, but good to see you here, my brother. Good to see you. Then we have another Rhonda. This is Rhonda Spencer Tom. And then after Rhonda, we have Seth Red, the one and only Seth Red. Then he was followed by Mandela, followed by Junior, followed by Stefan, and then Inferno Boss. Orville Jacobus is next. Bart, and then Louis. Colin from Queens, 11872 was his regulation number. Then we have David, followed by Lennox, Melville, Samuel. Samuel is here. Aubrey, 1953. Linda is in the house. Mayor, Magnell, the Barrows are here, Magnell and Gary. Then they're followed by Corrine, followed by Maureen, is rhyming. Then Chilo came in at what time? 10:51. Karen was next. Then Old Police Gordon came in at 10:54. Devian came in shortly after. He was the last on Facebook, on YouTube. And for Facebook, we have Elvis. Then we have Gordon. And this is Gordon Cornett. Lynette from Barbados. Joyce Prince Kingston. She's watching from Queens. Brandy, Commissioner Cole, and the list goes on. Of course, Carlton is here. The list goes on and on. Just again to tell you that when we say we have this large number of people waiting, you can see for yourself what we believe in evidence-based. We're providing the evidence that all of these people are waiting, and we're not going to disappoint you. We are not going to disappoint you. We have so much to tell. Let me make the announcements, and then I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway. We say regretfully we start with the announcement of those brothers and sisters who have passed. On the last program, I informed you of the death of retired Superintendent Clifford Graham. His number was 5111. Somebody asked in the comments last week whether it's Chippy Graham. No, this is not Chippy Graham. This is not Chippy. Chippy used to be at the quartermaster store, and even before that, the older police said he was in the band room, spent some time at the TSU. This is not Chippy. This is another Graham who was 105 years when he passed on May 3rd. And the funeral service is on Friday the 24th at St. Gabriel's Episcopal Church. This is in Brooklyn, viewing from 5, and the service is from 6. We also did announce the death of Mr. Oscar Clark. We have a former member of parliament, long-standing member of the PNC, and regional minister. He had a lot of portfolio, council in the city council and all of that. I'm listening to hear when his funeral arrangements. And then, of course, we had recently, that's why we said this, you got to give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. The well-known and sometimes controversial Philip London, he was known as Pope Emmanuel in Guyana. He passed away on Monday. I think it was Monday morning. Pope Emmanuel Philbert London. And Philbert and I grew up in BV, about 4 or 5 houses from each other. As small boys, I knew the London brothers, Philbert, and Horton, the eldest of the lot. So those persons, Philip passed, and Philbert, I'm saying Philbert London. It's Philbert London. And I want to express condolences to the relatives and the friends, family of those persons who have passed. And again, I say, I hope the good Lord will give you the strength to go through these troubled times. So yes, and again, I want to emphasize, this is the reason why we have to give praise and thanks every day that we open our eyes. The story with Philbert, I understand, he was feeling unwell, taken to a private hospital, and he passed away. No one knows the hour, no one knows the day, no one knows the time. And yet still some of these people, they live as though they are going to be here forever. They do their fellow human beings all kind of injustice. But the day of reckoning will surely come. The day of reckoning will come. So yes, condolences again to those persons. I don't have any birthdays to announce today. But before I bring in and the up here, while I'm talking to you, I'm a bit distracted because I'm watching the IPL cricket. And the IPL, this is the Eliminator is on now, RR, and is RR playing RCB, Rajasthan Royal and RCB, they're playing there. Yesterday we had the match with KKR and Sunrisers. KKR destroyed Sunrisers. So you're into the eliminator now. That one yesterday was known as the qualifier. So KKR, having won that game, gone straight through to the finals, which will be on Sunday. Now, in this game, this one playing here right now, you lose, you're gone home. And the winner will take on the loser of yesterday's match in the second eliminator. That is on Friday. And then, as I said, the final. So, wonderful cricket, man. I enjoying it. And there was a shock yesterday, Ulrich, Jakey, and others. I don't know if you realized yesterday, there was a T20 international between Bangladesh and the United States of America. And United States of America beat Bangladesh in this T20 that was played yesterday. I watched part of the game, the last part, and I enjoyed it immensely. I always like the underdogs, I enjoyed it immensely. And keeping on the same cricket line, tomorrow, the series between West Indies and South Africa, the T20 a three-match series, will commence in Jamaica, right? The team is named, Brandon King is the captain. And why? Because Powell, who is the T20 captain, is currently playing in this very game. I think he has taken 2 catches so far. So too is Etimaya. Both were named in the West Indies T20 squad. We also have Russell and Shofin Rutherford, who are with KKR in India. So I guess they're gonna be in the West Indies in time for the World Cup. But that is what you have. That is what you have. Some senior players are in playing franchise cricket. You can't stop them from earning the money. You can't stop them from earning, but that is the way things are. And what more do I have to tell you before I bring in Mr. Conway? Nothing else. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to go into the meat of the thing. Mr. Conway, good morning, sir.
Good morning to viewers, listeners. Um, Happy to be in the land of the living and to do God's work. I note uh, London, Colin Pope, passed away. I didn't like you. I didn't know him personally. I got to know him when I saw some episodes on the television, and then I remember when he returned to his church, they sang for him simply the best. So perhaps he was the best. But then whether you're the best or not, time is going to come when you have to go your way. Whether you like it or not, whether you put on the short pants and go down the road, again, you still have to go.
Yeah, you have to go. When the time comes, you have to go. We all have to answer for our deeds. We all have to do that. And I say I like the students. I like the students. They're reminding me too that this afternoon there is a T20 match with England and Pakistan. Starts at I think 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, we have these games. We have these games to ease the tension, right? So yeah, as CC says, we all have to go at some stage. I grew up with in the same village with Philip, and his eldest brother Horton. They live, I think, 4 houses north of where I live, so I knew them in those years very, very, very well. We all played cricket and so on in Kwamina Yard together. So yeah, condolences again. Now, CC, I read this morning and I saw some comments earlier. I think some of those comments were deleted, where you wrote a letter published in the dailies today, talking about the new policy in the force to recruit members. And you made some very interesting observation, which I will want you to share with our students. I know not everyone would have been able to read the letter. And those of you who have not, I will encourage you to read. I think it's it is in both Stabrook and Kaicho News. And I will encourage you to read. But CC is going to give us a quick view of the letter that he posted today. CC?
I will not go into too much of details, but it was published in both the Stabrook and the Kaichur, but the Stabrook did some editing. Kaichur got the full story. And I really wrote about the police recruitment exercise or operation that they have going on right now, or that they started some time ago. And they made a bold statement, and they're saying a part of revolutionizing the police force, or make it more modern, that they'll raise the standard qualification entry to that of the, you have to get, you have to be CXC and above level. So anything less than that, you can join the police force, CXC and above. And arbitrary, they did so. And that will really prevent a lot of person who would not have that qualification, but they have attributes to become senior police officers. They, there are many instances where persons like me and like you, Paslo, we joined with our board certificates and primary education, and we became assistant commissioner. Many persons who joined without reaching the CXC level, anything compared to the CXC level, and they became commissioners, deputy commissioners, assistant commissioners. So this thing that they're doing now, will prevent persons from joining the police force who would become excellent police officers, senior police officers. But let me run you through the recruitment process that they have. You pass the exam, you have CXC level, and they didn't say whether what grades you must get. Neither they didn't say whether English or mathematics, those subjects are compulsory. Neither they didn't say the amount of subjects that you must have at the CXC level. It's very, very, very vague. But if you pass the exam, you pass a medical, the criminal records office clear you that you don't have any criminal record. The special branch also clear you. The the police division who do what they call a background check if they clear you. Say you have two character reference and you produce 6 photographs of yourself. I don't know why they want 6 photographs of yourself. You're well on your way. Automatically, you become a member of the Guyana Police Force. But if you're going to recruit for the organization, you have to look at the role that the policemen required to play. And the role is set out in Section 3.2 of the Police Act. I don't want to go into it, but to tell you what prevention and detection of crime maintenance or law and order, and go down the line. And also the policemen swear that they would serve without favor or affection, malice or ill will. And apart from that, there are certain expectations that society impose on policemen. They expect them to be fair. They expect them to be honest. They expect them to be uncorruptible. They expect them to perform with honesty. And also the role the society expect from the police, the expectations of the police. So if you're going to recruit, you got to look at those issues. Look at those issues and base your recruitment strategy based on that. Now, in the recruitment strategy, persons, as I mentioned, pass the exam, pass the medical, clear by special branch, blah 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 blah. They automatically will join the police force. But then again, they may get all these things, but they have qualifications that didn't suit, characteristics isn't suited for the police force. You might very well be recruiting psychopaths in the police force because you're not doing no psychological assessment. There must be psychological assessment, and one of the best ways to do that is to do what you call assessment centers, where you get them together and you do simulations. You get them together and get them to do leaderless discussions. You get them to play games. You do psychological testing, and you do a whole set of other assessment before you finally take them on. And based on that assessment, or we call the assessment centers, and the assessment centers internationally known, I can recall when I was on attachment with the Jamaica Constabulary Staff College. Those persons there do assessment. They have trained assessors. Not anybody come and assess you. Trained assessors, and I think something it was a 2 days process that those applicants has to go through. And I recall during the assessments, and the other guy who graduated from the University of West Indies, the Mona campus. He was a honor student, and they put them to have a discussion on whether the death penalty should be abolished. And he took over the whole discussion. He shut out people saying, I get a qualification. I'm more qualified than anybody. You can't say nothing. You worship. And he shut down a whole set of people, and he displayed a whole set of unprofessional, undesirable behavior. And you know what? Akremo Francis Falls was the commissioner then, was he in charge of the college there. He became commissioner of police. And he said, him can come from Mona, him can come with all his qualification. But if him a psycho, him can be a police. Him can be a police. And they're weeding him out from inception. So I'm saying that they need to establish what we call assessment centers to do proper assessments for us from them, similar like what the GDF do when you want to become a cadet officer. You have to do those things. Look at things psychologically. Psychological assessment must be done. Yes, you'll have a less among the persons joining the force, but you have better quality. And eventually those persons who display certain characteristics, they'll fall out in the training stage. Or they might last 2 years in the probationary period. So I'm saying they need to put a better system in place in terms of assessing people for the force. And don't shut out those persons who don't reach the CXC level. Don't shut them out. Many of them will, some of our late developers, but many of them will do exceedingly well, can even become commissioners, deputy commissioners, assistant commissioners. Me, I enjoy the CXC. I reach CXC level. Paul, you didn't reach CXC level, and many others didn't reach CXC level, but we serve with distinction as members of the Ghana Police Force. So I'm saying they need to look at the recruitment process, just like how they get a Minister of Home Affairs tweaking the law to deal with crime and to deal with traffic. They should tweak the law and to deal with the recruitment process, unless they will not have the type of quality of policemen and policewomen that they want to join the force.
Well said, my brother. Well said. Let me add me to bit. I agree fully with you that having passes at CXC alone cannot tell you if a person is likely to become a proper police. We have qualification. A man is saying here is that you got to get people who are. Let me find the comment. What he says. You got to get people who are literate. I agree. You have to get people who are literate. But tell me, Parmanan, having CXC, perhaps you barely think CXC, is that the only measurement of literacy? Is that the only measurement? I will want to advance to you that you have people who do not have CXC subjects, are more literate than some of them who come and tell you they get 5, 6 subjects. And in an organization with the police force, in an organization like the police force, that alone is not all. CXC is not all. If a man is inherently corrupt, if a man is overtly aggressive, perhaps the police force is not the place for him. So as Mr. Conway has indicated, you have to do much more than just saying subject. And let me say this. At the recent officers conference, the extended squatter, the man who is acting as commissioner of police, made a point to say that they have problems recruiting and retaining ranks in the force. That is, and they're recruiting ranks who don't have to have that CXC qualification, and they have problems recruiting and retaining. I want to say, if you're now demanding that as an entry into the force, you must have CXC subjects. They didn't say how many. I want to suggest, therefore, that you might have even more difficulty in recruiting persons. I want to believe that if you don't have there's no need for CXC, and you, by your own admissions, have problem in recruiting and retaining, what is going to happen now that you have to get CXC and you haven't said anything about increase in emoluments, increase in remuneration? I was looking yesterday at an advertisement from a security company in Guyana, and they're advertising that the start level is 120,000 Guyana dollars. And when last I checked, the start for a police constable is in the vicinity of 101, right? And you know that the man who go into the security guard, they talk about CXC and all those subjects. They just say that you must get police clearance and that type of thing. That is what they say. So these things are not carefully thought out. These things are not carefully thought out. Then I can deal with this one. I know they got the money making some comments. They say CC we solving distinction for the PNC. Hey, what you name permanent shift not? Let me put you up here. Permanent shift not. For most of my service, listen to this carefully, and CC is the same. For most of my service, I serve under the PPP government. Jagan, both Jagans, Dana Ramatar, and Bara Jagdeo. For most of the service, I got National Award during the tenure of Janet Jagan. So don't come here and you're talking nonsense. I can take you all on this morning. I'm in the mood. So you come and y'all don't do any type of research. You just don't. You just come to parrot the propaganda line. I served for most, so most of my 37 years in the force was under the PPP administration, my brother, from under that, right? So, and I know the people can take them up and so on, but the point is, as someone is saying here, now if we go back to this qualification to talk about, a man mentioned it about Roy. If they want to talk, Roy was a bicycle watchman by Metropole Cinema. I will always remember in 1992 when the government, the PPP came into power, the education minister, their education minister was Dale Bisnat. Check Dale Bisnat, who did not go to secondary school and did not have these qualifications that they're talking about. So the point is that you don't necessarily have to have qualification to become a good, well-productive citizen, even in the Guyana Police Force. Even in the Guyana Police Force. So, because if you're coming with that now, go back into the early years, the 60s and 70s and so on. People never had those qualifications. They don't have the qualification. And I maintain, because I would tell you I'm a proud product of the primary education back in the day. Because the primary education that I received, and I just boast about it, was far superior to some of the secondary education that these people getting now. Primary education in my days, right? And it is noted because you see people who writing, they claim they have all these subjects and so on. When you see them write something, the green verbs, they can't construct sentences properly. If you put them to speak on the mic, they can't deliver themselves. They have no deliverance and so on. So the point I am making is that you don't necessarily have to have all those academic qualifications to be a good productive citizen. You don't have to have all those qualifications. And I'm saying again, before I begin, Mr. Conway, if you are going to depend on CXC subjects to determine whether a person can enter the police force, you're going to run into problems. You have a lot of people with CXC, they are criminals or they are criminally inclined. They are criminally inclined. And as CC, my brother, said, you have to be able to have a proper assessment centers to weed out those people. because a lot of them coming in, and again, I want to say, you have hardworking, honest, and good persons in the police force. No doubt about that. But then you have some people who join, they get the couple subject and so on. They join to get involved in criminal activity to shake people down and so on. That is indisputable. That is indisputable. So how do you detect those antisocial qualities in your recruitment process to get rid of them? You have to do that. You have to do that. That is the only way you're going to make any progress. You bring in a man, you get 6, 7 subjects, CXC. And what happens now in the force? A man come and you get 6, 7 subject CXC. They identify right away. He's going to be identified for cadetship or some that type of management thing. So the person has no management capability. I have seen many of those 7, 8 subjects at CXC joining the force. They send them on cadet officer training. They come back. They have no leadership qualities, none whatsoever. But then they put into leadership positions, and then the whole thing breaking down. These people got to understand that this thing, and well, let me digress to say, what is shocking, what is surprising, that these models are there, They don't have to reinvent the wheel. If not in Guyana, they are there around the Caribbean and elsewhere, so they can sit and they can see what is going on. We have a situation in Guyana in the police force, perhaps one of the unique situations in the English-speaking Caribbean, where constables, a man can join as a constable with 5, 6 subject CXC. They send him for 1 year standard training at the Standard Officers Cadet Course at the GDF, and he comes back and he's an officer, he's a gazetted officer in the police force. He knows absolutely nothing about policing. Those are some of the things you have to look at. Look at the people who came through that GDF cadet system, because when they come into the force, they're absorbed into the force. No training program to teach them policing. And I must remind you that for the year they spent at GDF, they know nothing. They were never taught anything about policing. And that is what you have. So those people are floating up to the top, floating up into middle management position. And then what you have, they can't lead. They don't know the work. They don't know how to treat with people. They don't know policing. You have a situation now, as an example, where up to recently, I don't know who you think is, a cadet officer, a man who came through the standard military, I think, officer school, a cadet officer, is a branch commander in the Ghana police force. Now, what is man over policing? What you know about management? Almost nothing. And that is part of the problem. They don't want to look at it. And when you talk about it, they believe that you're attacking. You're not attacking, you're revealing these things, because the thing is affecting the way in which the force function. I have said I didn't intend to say to spend so much time on it. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to if you want to say anything more about that, and then we're going to move on. CC, you have forgiven me. I never intended to speak so much about this recruiting thing, but it is important, because if you're talking about developing a professional police force, if you're talking about reforming the police force, all of these things you have to look at. All of these things you have to look at. And if you don't look at them, then, as they would say, cat gonna eat your dinner. Yes, CC.
Let me just add with the man who's a branch commander, a cadet officer, and I'm going to be more specific. Cadet officer is in charge of the mountain branch, or we call it the Queen section of the force. And what happened recently, they had a course, and they were teaching equitation. And you know what they did? They wrote the man who he took over from and asked him to do the lectures, because the branch commander can't lecture on equitation. So a man who they chase out from the mountain branch, they wrote him and asked him to do the lecture. Well, it was me. I didn't gain any way at all. I would say I have no interest, no further interest in the mountain branch. Anyway, but apart from doing police work, the critical thing is that police got to look at behavior. Behavior is critical. You have to deal with the behavior of your superiors, your peers, your subordinates, members of the public, behavior of your family, behavior of your own self. That behavior is critical. And that's why in the recruitment process, you have to deal with behavior. And if you do the proper assessment center, you will be able to identify behavior that you don't want in the police force. People are going to manifest themselves. You're going to see a lot of bullies coming in. You're going to see a lot of people with I remember my grandmother used to use a word, and people with the way call, she used to say cocotrenchical behavior. That's when you behave bad. She said there's cocotrenchical behavior. So behavior is critical, and you have to address behavior when you, among other things, when you're doing it, looking at recruitment.
Well, yeah, in the police force, behavior is essential. I agree with you. Behavior is essential. And somebody saying, yeah, well, you look at the comment, you have a lot of them that came in with all sorts of subject and so on, get involved in criminal activities, smuggling liquor. They got one of them there, still there in the pay senior position, laundering money. So those are the type of behaviors you have to try to identify and prevent from getting in. And once they get in, you have to try to get them out. Imagine that senior police officer accused of laundering money, and he's still there calling the shots, a money launderer. So I don't know, and he get qualification. So the point is, qualification, academic qualification is not everything. There is more to being a good policeman than just having the academic qualification. We have, or we had people who were excellent prosecutors. The magistrate and the judges and so on will tell you of some of the old policemen, excellent prosecutors. They never went to law school. They never did anything in law. They didn't get all them subjects. Well, it wasn't CXC then, O levels, or they never had those things. But they were well versed in the subject that they had to deal with. They were well versed in policing because they were well trained. Now let me move on. We have said a lot on this issue. Now, I noted with a lot of pleasure, I must say. And I talk in here about the continued strike by the teachers. And, they're still on the strike line, demanding better wages and so on. I told you people on Monday, last week, Friday, they had this virtual press conference. And some of the people thought it best to interrupt the press conference by displaying pornographic, hardcore pornography, and disrupting the thing. Now, I noted that the judge, Justice Kisoon, has issued what they call to be his written judgment. Congratulations to Justice Kisoon, because one of the things that we have been lamenting over the years, not only we on this program, but people in general, is that these judges have not been handing down, not been given their written decision. Justice Kisoon, in such a short time, has delivered a written decision, 134 pages, written decision. And you see, when these things happen, we as members of the public, even the people in the bar and all these people, think they should compliment, because when they fail to deliver the written judgment on time, they are ridiculed and they are called presumptuous, and all kind of derogatory and disrespectful words are used to describe them. So in this case, where Justice Sandil Kisoon has delivered a written judgment, now in record time, he ought to be complimented. I know I got my contact. So by the time the judgment was delivered, a copy was sent to me. I've not been able to read the entire judgment, but yesterday someone told me that I should read pages 85 to 88. He said pages 85 to 88 are required reading. So immediately I pull it up and I read page 85 to 88. And again, I said, yeah, read this thing. The man excoriate the chief election officer, the judge. I said the man. My apologies, sir. The judge excoriate the chief education officer. And he used a lot of judicial language that I am not capable of using. I said, tell him, call the chief education officer. Basically, he said he lied and he couldn't be relied on and all this type of thing. So that decision, and again, I say, y'all go and read this judgment. I'm sure it's going to be there somewhere that you can read. 134 pages. I will, before the end of the week, I'm going to make sure that I read the judgment, because I know even in today's paper, one of the sycophants write something, a short thing, more or less trying to be critical of the decision. We know that the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal, the MP, SC, MP, he too came out and he wrote a long thing in the thing, and they were critical. They said they're going to appeal and all that. So read the decision. I know, again, my student who brought it to my attention yesterday said that page one, well, on page 130, I think. Let me get it. He said on page 130. Let me try to find it. Please bear with me. Bear with me a moment. Oh, yes, I have it here. He said you should reach page 130. Yeah, page 130, on which there is a quote from a French poet, the French poet Anatole France. Anatole France, a French poet. And hear what it says. It says, the law in its majestic equality forbids the rich as well as the poor to sleep on the bridges, to beg in the streets, and to steal bread. So the law forbids. So in other words, there's equality in the law. It forbids the man, it forbids the rich as well as the poor to sleep on the bridges, to beg in the streets, and to steal bread. The law should be blind. Shouldn't see color, shouldn't see politics, shouldn't see anything, and that is what the judge wrote. So again, I want to tell you that you should make sure you read page 85 to 88. In particular, you could start off then to see the comments the judge made about the chief elections officer. Comments. Remember, he was actually contemptuous of the judge. Once the judge issued the ruling, he went to tell people, he wrote to say, basically, don't bother what the judge say. You must continue to deduct salary. All of those things the judge addressed in his ruling. Again, I say, the only little criticism I have of the judge, if you can call it that, is that when he sent for the chief election officer, you should have him sit on the bench for some period of time before you rule. Unlike previous judges, when he called up the chief election officer, he should ask him, or let me put it this way, when he went that time, whatever time he told him to go, he should have given him a time for him to return and to tell the court why he should not be sentenced for contempt, why he should not be cited for contempt. But he just treated him a little leniently. So that is why they're pumping the scene and jumping around. Let me bring Mr. Conway to comment on that, and then we're going to move on. CC, I sure you will want to join me in complimenting Justice Kisoon on what is but you can't help but compliment him. The man delivered a written judgment. Again, I say the man, no disrespect, man, Your Honor. The judge delivered a written ruling in quick time. CC.
I totally agree with you.
But before I go again, the student are saying election is not election, man. The chief education officer, Saddam Hussein. Thank you, student. Again, you sometimes the slip of the tongue is not the fault in the mind. The person to whom I'm referring is the chief education officer, Saddam Hussein, not the Saddam Hussein from Iraq. Saddam Hussein, the chief education officer from Guyana. So my apologies for saying chief education, the election officer, the chief education officer, Saddam Hussein. Thank you, CC. Go ahead.
I recall about 2 weeks ago, the Attorney General say, hey, a month passed and they ain't get no written judgment from Justice Kisoon. Well, he got it now. I have not gone through the 100 and something pages. I just scanned through a couple of pages, but I will make sure I plan over the weekend. I will sit down properly and go through it. And like you, if I be a little critical of him, and not only he, the present day judges, I don't think they are firm enough, especially dealing with contempt of court. Too many persons are in contempt of court, bringing the court into disrepute. I remember the president of the Caribbean CCJ I had to talk about the attorney general who prematurely revealed the decision of the court and then blame it on his IT administrator. But getting back to the judge, I think like you, I remember years ago, I think I was a corporal or something there in a court where Justice, and I'm getting it right this time, Justice Claude Messiah, the last time I said Keith, Justice Claude Messiah cited an attorney at law for contempt of court. The attorney is now a senior counsel. I'm not going to call his name. And he, as we used to say in those days, he carried mannishness to the judge. And the judge said, Counsel, I'm now citing you for contempt of court. And he turned to the orderly, orderly, take care of him. I'm putting on this court for 1 o'clock. You take care of him. And he told the attorney, and if you're not well represented at 1 o'clock, the judge of the Georgetown prison is going to open up and swallow you. At 1 o'clock, he was represented by at least two senior counsels and other lawyers. So it's high time now that the judges be formed with people who are in contempt of court. Whether you're attorney at law or not, be very firm with them. But getting back to the teachers' story, they're in gridlock. They're not getting anywhere. So as I see it, I think it's heading straight to arbitration because they can't discuss. They can't get crucial confrontation or crucial confrontation or crucial conversation. And I wrote a letter some time ago where I recommended two books, Crucial Confrontation and Crucial Conversation, written by four men. I won't go into the name. And here what it says, crucial or critical confrontation. To confront, I read it. Critical confrontation. It said to confront means to hold someone accountable face to face. Although this term can sound abrasive, that's not what we have in mind. In fact, when confrontations are handled correctly, both parties talk openly and honestly. Both are candid and respectful. And as a result, problems are resolved, relationship benefit. So it's time they get away from this little boyish attitude and this schoolboy attitude and sit down and talk like big men, like big women, all in the benefits of not only the teacher, all of us. And then they talk about cru- crucial crucial conversation. And here's the definition. They say crucial conversation is a discussion between two or more people where stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions run strong. Where stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions run strong. And there's what really gain on. And they say how you typically handle them, you avoid them, or you face them and handle them poorly, or you face them and handle them well. But what we have now is that they're avoiding and they handle them poorly. It's time both the union and both the government get together like big men, like big women, and trash out the issues. Trash out the issues. But as I see it, there's gridlock. We ain't getting and they ain't getting anywhere, and it's straight down to arbitration. And in the meanwhile, the slippers won't be on the ground.
Yeah, yes, my brother. Well, let me say this based on what I've read. The issue is that the teacher union has always been willing to engage in conversations with the government. It's the government who are they have refused to discuss certain crucial issues. My understanding is that they at the earlier meeting that they had, the people wanted the negotiations to deal with the collective bargaining from 2019 to 2023 and then 2024. The government is adamant that they're not dealing with anything from 2019 to 2023. They had said earlier that, well, they ain't got money to deal with all of that. But I mean, in this oil-rich economy where they find money to deal with all kind of things, how can you conference last week, Friday, and the teachers outlined their expenses against their income. One wonders how they are surviving, especially those in the interior locations. But the government don't want to talk about them. But every time you hear the billing this so much million, how much billion, how much 100 million, and all things. But teachers, the teachers of Guyana, they feel are not because and I hope adopted uh, from the strength of the internet bar that I don't have the type of connection that should really have. I can also see that there's some delay in my transmissions to you. So we're gonna ordinary persons ask what is the role of the police special branch? People have reached out to me. All the policemen, or I said all police, people who are civilians, police special branch. So I promised them I will address it today, and I will address it now. Now, the special branch is a unit in the Guyana Police Force. And let me say this from the outset. This what I'm about to tell you is no national secret to say I am letting tales out of school. There's nothing secret about the role of the special branch in Guyana and elsewhere. I feel compelled to just go through it again. Special branch in any country, not only Guyana, is your role of the special branch, the Ghana Police Special Branch, has changed. In the wake of the Quindon Bacchus murder, where special branch rank is charged for that uh, murder, a special branch. The man was shot and killed. Quindon Bacchus was shot and killed. Not so long ago, the special branch rank has been committed to stand trial in the High Court for the murder of Quindan Bacchus. A few months ago, just about 2 months ago, I think it was, where there was a robbery at was heading somewhere on the east bank of the Demerara. They then proceeded to intercept a car they suspect to be that car. They fired 88 for the guy who was in the car. They immediately saying the signal bad. I realize that. I can see it from my end that the signal is bad. I will continue though. I hope that it clears up as we go. The reception coming through poorly, people are saying. I don't want to stop and start over because we might get into some issues there. So I would prefer to try to branch during that. We had the one, as I said, the robbery, murder on the Vidanoop. They intercepted the car and they claim that they got information about this car, they intercepted the car. Then over the weekend, I'm going to read two quick articles here. This was carried in Stabrook News on the 20th of this month. The headline is 2 men shot, gun seized during police operation in Agricola. It says here 2 men were shot and a firearm seized during a police operation in Agricola on Saturday night. That is last Saturday. In response to a tip about an illegal firearm possessed by a tourist, refused at them. In response, one of the officers drew his service pistol and fired at the man, striking him in the knee. It added, both he and the gun fell to the ground, and the officers took possession of the gun. As the officers attempted to place the man in a police vehicle, the release said a hostile crowd gathered, and the man was taken away from the officers and placed in a white motor car bearing registration number, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to mention the registration number. The release said that the police then called for backup, and a team from the Tactical Services Unit responded. During the chaos, a man from the crowd rushed towards one of the police officers, release said, and that the 2 men are hospitalized. Yeah, again, folks, bro, bear with me. They're messing with the program, and the quality I'm saying, unit, the government has a whole unit dedicated to this type of thing, interrupt broadcasts and to troll people and to do all manner of things. That is what they're saying. That is what they do. So that is the release, and the cover were in operational activity again. And they're referring to the same article that I just read, and they're saying there that let me read this again. The Ghana police force was Sunday mum on whether intelligence gathering and espionage agent of its ranks on Saturday continued to engage to behave in a hostile manner towards the police. According to the police, persons in the crowd managed to take the resident away from the officers, place him in a white motor police added the crowd, the cutlass, rushed towards one of the police officers and attempted to chop him. The officers discharged a round in his direction, which hit the man on his left ankle. People say they're breaking up badly. I am breaking up badly. CC, are you hearing me
Breaking up. You're muffled all the time.
properly?
You're you're
Are
you're,
you hearing or
you're
breaking
muffled.
up?
Perhaps Pegasus at work. You're muffled. I'm not getting you clearly. I don't know how you're receiving me.
CC, anything any better? Can you hear me any better now?
I'm hearing you clearly. I'm hearing you clearly now.
All right, folks. Um, still got a little issue. You hearing me any better? Let me let me know if you can hear me any better now. I'll try rebooting the system, and I still see a very low bar on the with the internet. So I don't know if it's any better. So please let me know if are getting some bubbling issues. So yes, um, Ron said it's better, a little better. People are saying, all right, so go. Still choppy. Some people say it's a little better now. So I'm gonna try to continue and perhaps to conclude this. Now we were talking about the role of the special branch. It is clear that the role has changed over the years. Because as we said earlier, the role of the special branch is really to be in covert. In other words, they are there and you don't even know that they are I'm going to just continue the broadcast for today, and we're going to let you know when we are going to come to you again. We're going to let you know. Maybe tomorrow we'll continue this. I don't know, um, based on the schedule. All right, so I'm going to end the program now, and let me bring in CC. CC, are you hearing me?
Hey, but then you're breaking up. You're breaking up. Sometimes I
All
hear
right,
you good and some other
I'm
time.
gonna in circles. We're gonna let you know when we're gonna continue this program. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. We don't know, but listen out, and we will